Good evening, Canby. Welcome to Canby City Council regular meeting for June 4th, 2014. We will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance in a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stay standing for a moment of silence for our men and women who are serving here and abroad, please. Thank you. So for those of you watching at TV land, this is the City Council meeting. The Urban Renewal Agency met at 6 o'clock. So you don't need to adjust your dials. We are correct in the evening's agenda. Next on the agenda this evening is the Canby Livability Proclamation. So Canby Livability Day, whereas the Canby Livability Coalition is dedicated to maintain the quality of life in the community of Canby by empowering citizens through educational opportunities and providing resources to preserve livability for future generations, and whereas citizens, organizations, and neighborhood associations are encouraged to select community service cleanup projects and activities that beautify the city of Canby before summer activities. Now, therefore, I, Brian Hodson, by the virtue of the authority vested in me as the mayor of the city of Canby, hereby proclaim the last Sunday in June this year as Canby Livability Day in Canby, and encourage all citizens to join in this observance and volunteer on June 29th, 2014 at one of the cleanup sites given under my hand this 14th day of June, 2014. I believe we have some people here to accept this for us today. Thank you. Want to take a moment and say a few words?
Well, on behalf of Canby Livability, I want to thank the council and actually the whole city for supporting this in this effort and giving us this official proclamation. Just want to let you know that the city council in the past and present have been supporters of us. Mayor Hodson has been out cleaning up a few times. Councilor Hensley was there last year on a very hot day and had her family. And Walt Daniels, previous member of the council, was also very active in helping us out. So we want to invite you out. Actually, we say Sunday the 29th, but any time that week leading up to that Sunday is quite acceptable. We still have a few projects available. So if you go to our website, which is canbylivability.org, you can follow the links to find the projects and sign up. All are still available. So with that, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for all that you do. Appreciate it.
It really makes a big difference for this city.
All right. Next on the agenda is the Clackamas County Event Center presentation. And while Lori makes her way up here, Councilor Parker wanted to make a few remarks here.
Yeah, I was the one who requested this and had a chance to talk to Lori this weekend at the wine festival and was telling her how great the place looked and just how much more energy there was. And I've known Lori going back to the days when I still worked for Clackamas County, and she took over. And what a lot of people don't realize is that she not only brought the fairgrounds into the 21st century, she had to bring it through the 20th century when she took over. There were some record keeping and that sort of thing that were legacy projects that had been done for a long time, and Lori, she had to put me off a few times with some of my big grand ideas of wanting to turn things around immediately, saying I just need to know how much money is coming in and coming out. Her first big project was to build a bathroom, which was absolutely needed. Now she's got a horse arena that has some issues, and I just want to say how excited I am about the planning that's going on out there. This is a huge draw to this city that is only 500 yards from our downtown core, and so the opportunities for us to both prosper from their development. And so I think she has my pledge of support with the county electeds to get additional investment out there, because each dollar that goes out there, especially in facilities, which I think is one of the big needs right now, is going to benefit the businesses here. And so, Lori, I'm glad you showed up tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad I made it on time. Busy life. So I'm just going to give a little speech, and I think that'll cover everything, and you can ask questions. The Clackamas County Fair is well known for tradition and family values. The 2013 fair attendance was 145,295, a turnout not seen since 1998. Did you know the Clackamas County Event Center is self-sustaining? We receive no property tax support. We do receive support from the Clackamas County Hotel Motel tax. This year, this coming fiscal year, the total will be over $423,000. We will receive about $50,000 from the Oregon Lottery funds through the Oregon Fairs Foundation. The annual budget exceeds $1.7 million. The Fair and Event Center is overseen by a 5-member fair board. Daily operations include 7 full-time employees, 3 part-time staff members, and we'll hire about 70 seasonal employees to get us through the county fair. Personal service makes up about 28% of our budget. 61 includes services and fair expenses, and our contingencies running about 11%, which is going to change because of the livestock barn. The 55-acre grounds and its many buildings are almost never quiet. Over 300,000 people will visit the event center for the county fair, 4-H and FFA activities, public events, and private functions. The annual calendar is filled to the brim with events, and we're booking into 2016. These vary from small one-time events to many that utilize the facilities for several days. Functions are sponsored by both private and public entities, as well as for profit and nonprofit. This continual flow of happenings and people throughout the fairgrounds has a positive and significant impact on our local economy. This weekend, we are expecting about 1,500 bicyclers with the Portland Women Touring Club. This is a main event for the Portland Women. They put it on each year at our grounds. Multiple ride options are starting at the event center and going to Malala, to Shampoo Park. They've added a family ride this year that they'll take a break at Wake Park and then ride almost to the ferry and around. The next large event is the Clackamas County Kennel Club, and I know Mayor Hodson has been there to that. It'll be June 21st and 22nd. This event draws participants and attendees from across the country, including Canada. And the best of show last year, I believe, on Saturday night was a poodle from New York. There will be about 1,500 dogs showing on Saturday and about 1,000 on Sunday. This is an all-breed dog show supported by AKC. A best of show is awarded each day. According to the American Kennel Club, this event will generate about $1.7 million in the county. They will rent over 400 rooms per night for at least a 3-day run. Clackamas County 4-H holds numerous events and meetings at the event center. The nominal fee for the 4-H and FFA is waived. The next large event will be the horse fair, July 11th through the 18th. There will be about 300 horses that week of fair for them. We'll put about 150 in the first half and 150 in the second half. It just depends on the ages. They will be using the rodeo arena event. They'll be staying west of the Green Gate this year. Most of you are aware that the livestock barn was deemed unsafe for events after the recent snowfall. The livestock barn was built in 1924. It houses not only our cows, llamas, pigs during the fair, but it is used during the year for livestock sales and booth spaces for the 4-H tax sale, for auto swaps, and it's a grooming barn for the Clackamas Kennel Club. Studies are currently being conducted to decide how to move forward. Cost of remodeling versus cost of rebuilding is the issue. Options will be discussed by the county commissioners in the next couple of weeks. The county fair and Canby Rodeo are exactly 68 days from opening. Both would not happen without the many organizations and volunteers that contribute each year. The Canby Rodeo Committee consists of 17 members who meet monthly to plan the rodeo. These dedicated men and women produce a top 50 PRCA rodeo. In 2010, the committee was awarded the Rodeo of the Year in the Columbia River Circuit. In 2011 and 2013, they received the Best Footing Award, or should I say the Best Dirt Award, from the Women's Pro Rodeo, the barrel racers. The women are recording the best times in our arena. This past December, the Rodeo Committee received one of PRCA's highest honors, the Remuda Award. This award goes to the Rodeo Committee, who provide the best, most consistent pen of bucking horses that create the best opportunities for the riders, and it is voted by the riders. Last year, we were able to bring in the Calgary horses, and we're doing that again this year. There are numerous volunteers in the livestock area. Many take their vacations from their real jobs to manage the livestock shows and auctions. They meet on a regular basis as well. On the first Saturday in August, there will be over 200 youth and adults cleaning, painting, setting up pens, and taking entries for our county fair. In an era where most fairs are struggling for livestock shows, we are not. Last year, we saw an increase of 100 head of cattle. We also saw an increase in our food department. Last year, the Clackamas County Junior Livestock Auction brought in $245,000 for our 4-H and FFA youth. Not only is our livestock participants facing the challenge of a closed livestock barn, but the swine participants are dealing with viruses never before seen in the U.S. that has killed millions of baby pigs in less than a year. This virus is called the porcine epidemic diarrhea virus, also known as the PEDV virus. Scientists do not know how it got into the U.S. or how it has spread to over 27 states since May. Companies are racing to develop a vaccine, but the federal government has yet to approve one. The nation's top producer, Greg Rouse, did everything he could to prevent this disease from spreading to his farm. He trained workers to spot symptoms, had them shower and change clothing before entering the barns, and limited the deliveries and visitors. Despite all his efforts, the disease struck his farm, killing 13,000 animals in a matter of weeks. Most of these pigs are less than 2 weeks old. Estimates of how many pigs have died in the past year are about 5 million. We do know that we need to do everything we can to keep it from spreading. With the advice of our local vet, Dr. Mark Harms, and the OSU Extension swine specialist and the state vet, the Fair Board and I decided to not have any open class pigs this year at Fair. The only pigs that will be allowed will be those for the 4-H and FFA youth who will sell their pig in the junior livestock auction, and then it will go to slaughter or be a terminal show. Our goal is to minimize this disease, spread of this disease. Other fairs throughout the state are doing the same. Prices for pork have already soared over 13%. To most, the event center is a place people come 6 days out of the year to attend the county fair and rodeo. It is our community celebration. The Fair and Event Center is a deeply rooted community asset. It is a well-loved place, and the citizens of Clackamas County depend on it. My personal vision is to produce a county fair that exceeds all county fairs and to build a place where the community can gather and be proud.
Thank you, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
I hope that covered a lot.
You did.
Yeah.
And I think my pen was smoking on the paper. I think you're on your way in terms of what you're talking about, in terms of your vision. Commissioner Bernard and I had a pretty lengthy conversation, and he thinks the world of you in terms of what you've done and the hard work that you've put in there.
Thank you.
And he had nothing but nice things to say about you and the grounds and the strides that have come along, as Councilor Parker had mentioned. He and I had a big conversation about the barn and what needs to be done. Can you elaborate a little bit more in terms of the conversations that you guys have and the county have been having in terms of, is it a restoration? What's your thoughts, recommendations to the county commissioners?
Well, we went to the commissioners because it is a county-owned building, and I'm on county property. When we built the bathrooms, we had to take down those old Nishi bathrooms. It wasn't a big deal. It was like, oh, do it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little different because this building was built in 1924. When we went, the discussion was to deconstruct the barn, but we decided we needed to do more studies. So today, another engineer has looked at the barn and will give his proposal. At the same time, we've gone out for demolition bids. They've been accepted, and that committee was due today, so the committee will start to select someone in case we go to demolition. Honestly, I don't know until June 17th. Do I have options? Yeah. I will, if the barn was to come down before fair, I would put some temporary canopies up. At first, I was thinking of 49,000 square foot steel frame clear span, but I'm favoring something a little different. And then if not, we do have places to put the animals. It's just not a key idea, but we'll make it. It's just hard.
No, yeah, I mean,
We'll separate them. We're going to put the swine in one area and the beef and the dairy in another, and rotate animals in and out, have them bring less animals to fair this year, things like that.
well, I appreciate the hard work that you have to do yet to get even to the point that you're at. So, what kinds of things can we do to help support what's going on?
I think your support is much needed, and I think talking to your commissioners about how you appreciate the fair in this location, not that I'm spreading rumors, I'm just saying.
Sure.
And what we value to you, and that's the key. That's the key. Let them know.
Well, you are a huge asset to this community.
Yeah.
And in fact, Councilor Hensley and Councilor Parker and I were just talking about before we came in here, just what that does bring to our economy, what it brings to our community, and as you said, as you started, that kind of family values and great, everyone looks forward to the Clackamas County Fair, and
We're one
the
of the
numbers
few,
reflect that.
sorry, we're one of the few old-fashioned fairs left. People come because of livestock, the grass and trees, the rodeo, then the carnival and the food, of course. But that's, the top three is amazing to me, so, yeah.
Well, I hope the county commissioners continue to make an investment in our fair. I'll say our fair, because it is
It is
our
our fair.
fair.
That's right. Thank you.
Lori, how close to wrapping up the master plan? It's been a while since I've checked in on that.
So we did the vision plan first, which
Okay.
involved the community. Some of you were there for that. The next step was to go right into the strategic plan. About that time, the livestock barn closed. So everything's been on hold only because of the conversations now about the barn, and we plan to move forward. I dug out an old 1996 plan that I didn't know existed, and I really like it, but, it's not for me to decide. So we've kind of discussed that a little bit, the Fair Board and myself, so we'll see.
Well, we'd love to have you back when you're done
I'd love
with
to
your
come
master
back.
plan, because that will allow us, both from a policy and maybe even budgeting standpoint, that we've got this tiny little corridor between our historic downtown and the event center. And I think, when I first came here 17 years ago and would talk to people, downtown businesses say, well, we don't get any benefit from the fair being here. And I thought, well, what are you doing to try to monetize that event? That takes a little bit of effort. We got Jamie on board, and we need to work on things, on policies, like we were discussing this evening, that'll connect the two. And you said for the course of the fair, you have how many people that show up roughly?
About 145,000. That includes everyone.
Okay.
Workers, volunteers, paid gate, everybody.
Okay, so basically for 6 days, you're the mayor of a city the size of Eugene.
No. I appreciate the city support during the fair time, though I can only imagine, the Canby PD are great. They work closely with the Sheriff's Department for a safe fair. And I love the sidewalks and road. I think that was a big part of connecting us to downtown. I see people walking that all the time.
Yeah, me too.
And people driving that way now. I think it was a positive thing, and we'll get there.
Well,
Let's
Thank you.
figure out how we can
Thank you,
continue to
Lori.
help each
any
other.
other questions for Laura at all?
Thank you, Mr.
Not-
Mayor,
not
for
the
putting this
moment.
on the agenda.
Thank you for inviting me.
No,
I look
thank
forward
you.
to coming back.
Yes,
Thank you.
definitely. Thank you, Lori. All right.
Yeah, that's gonna get.
Next on the agenda this evening is the presentation for Open Counter. And Renata's here to introduce and download us on this new venture.
Thanks for the opportunity to introduce this innovative and business-friendly new tool that was just unveiled today. We've had several meetings over the course of today to introduce it to property owners and real estate professionals, to economic development professionals around the county and the region, as well as to the business community. And now we're here for a fourth presentation to you. This was a tool that we explored because we want to make our permitting process, our interface with our businesses, as clear and as easy as possible. I was at the International Economic Development Council conference in February where this program was introduced. It's been in development for about 4 years, and Canby is the first community in Oregon to launch this and one of the 9th in the country of the world. There we go. So we're a pioneer in that way. And I have with us today Peter Coate, who is the founder of the program, and he would like to give you a presentation on how it works.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, councilors. My name is Peter Coate, and prior to my experience of running this company, which is backed by the Knight Foundation, John L. and James L. Knight Foundation, and Code for America, which is a nonprofit out of San Francisco that's like the Peace Corps for nerds. I worked for the city of Santa Cruz in California, where we developed the first iteration of this program. I do apologize for the contrast on the screen. I will do my best to walk through. What I understood in my time as an economic development professional was economic development can happen in many ways, from expanding circulation, building better broadband, but a lot of the folks that would come in for services at the city were very, very small businesses, and even very large businesses like Nike or Apple start with just a couple of people, and that their first interface with government was very complicated, and oftentimes they didn't understand the implications of some of their choices. So even something simple, well, what we would consider simple, like opening a pizza restaurant. This is a restaurant in Santa Cruz called Bantam. They converted.
There we go.
There we go. That looks a lot better. They converted what used to be a light bulb factory into a pizza restaurant, and halfway through the project, they ran into some development impact fee issues, and it caused a lot of consternation for the founders, and also caused some extraordinary efforts by our department and our city to make sure that the project would be completed on time. People may have wonderful ideas for businesses, they may have wonderful ideas for services, but what they don't understand is some of the necessary regulations and requirements that they need to go through to protect public health and safety. So take, for example, if you wanted to make beer but also have a retail component, you may have to go through a special use process. You'd have to talk to the state, the county, other ancillary permitting agencies, as well as just, get your building permits and get the business open. The interface to government services oftentimes looks like this. You have to go during business hours. Frequently, the offices that you need to visit may be geographically separated. They all ask for similar groups of information, and particularly in California, where the recession has been really bad, a lot of these offices are closed a large percentage of the time. The product is named Open Counter because Santa Cruz's planning counter is open from 7:30 to 11 Monday to Thursday. And our information collection device in the public sector is it's been around for a while, and we think we can do more with modern information technology tools. The pink form on the left, the zoning clearance form from Santa Cruz, has been in action since 1982. It's a triplicate form, and the problem with it is even though it works, it collects the information needed to process the permit, it's very difficult to run analytics on it. You can't see churn, you can't see aggregate employment, you can't see clusters come and go, you can't see neighborhoods develop or industries develop or trends emerge. And this is true whether you're a tiny town like Los Gatos, which is about 16,000 in the Silicon Valley, or the city of Houston, Texas, which is the 4th biggest municipality in the United States. We still rely on the 8.5 by 11. When we did our statistical analysis, when we brought Los Gatos into the system, we imported 45 PDFs that asked for the applicant's first name 45 times. I think we can do better. These are some of the first people that we ever worked with using this program, Zach and Kendra Baker. They're fabulous restaurateurs. Early in 2011, they came into our economic development office and they wanted to buy what used to be a legal office, a city-owned property, and convert it to an ice cream parlor. You would think that that would represent, maybe a land use permit, a zoning clearance, a county health inspection, but no. There's a lot more that you have to do. There's wastewater concerns, there's special districts, there's business improvement districts, and a lot of first-time entrepreneurs don't understand what they're in for, and that leads to high levels of frustration. It leads to kind of endless feedback loops with staff, and for something as serious as starting a business and investing in community and strengthening a retail street, We feel it's better to get the process all out early on in the conversation. We'll do a demo for you in just a second, but this is a screenshot of the interface that OpenCounter does. Basically, what we ask for is a use and a location, and then we have imported all of your documents, your PDFs, your zoning ordinance, elements of your general plan, business-specific parts of your municipal code, and we can turn content based on and off people's answers. So in this case, this is a screenshot from Truckee, California. I was doing a restaurant table service test, and you notice I'm in a mixed-use zoning district. I'm in about 4 different overlays, and ultimately this business is permitted. Even that zoning inquiry process can take 7 to 10 business days, depending on the jurisdiction. OpenCounter can do it in about 2 seconds. The other thing that we do is, based on your user answers, we ask difficult questions like, do you have fire sprinklers? And we ask easy questions like, are you planning on serving alcohol? And we can turn permits on and off based on user answers. And you can click on each one of those and get a better understanding of what is this permit for? How does it protect or add to public safety? What are the funds used for? Are there benefits to the business by participating in this program? How long is the average processing time, and what is a gross estimation of the cost? Sometimes that estimation is calculated on something like square footage or employee count. Other times it's a flat fee. Other times it's an estimation. OpenCounter can help with all of those. One of the ways that we work is by using a lot of what's called GIS data, Geographical Information Systems data. And I have to say that we've done this process in a lot of cities, and the quality of the data and the ease of accessing the data in Canby was amazing. Both Brian and Angie were extremely responsive. Their materials are in excellent shape, and we configured this site in just a couple of weeks, basically. It was really a joy to work with your data. But what we display is on this page, and we'll go through this in a second, all these little squares that are colored in actually represent neighborhoods where yellow requires staff approval and green means it's a principally permitted use and you can move forward with just an over-the-counter permit. As I mentioned before in the PDF section of this presentation, one of the benefits we're trying to bring to cities is better demographics and statistics about what's happening in the business community, essentially setting up a pipeline for Renata to work with, either people that are sussing out, kicking the tires, or people that have gone all the way through the permitting process to figure out what neighborhoods are active, what business types are active, what's the aggregate employment these people boast, what's the permitting activity that these applications represent. And over the long term, we hope to provide that data to you, the council, to work on policy initiatives, to fine-tune the already good set of incentives that Canby has, and to just gain greater insight into how the business community is developing. And that will just be a value add as part of having this. It is fully configurable. In your arrangement with us, we're on call as you want to see changes like your new fee schedule that will come into effect with the new fiscal year. But staff also has the power to alter and edit things that are in the database right now. We actually did that with some planning staff this afternoon. I'm going to skip all the cities it's in because it's more important to show you your data. I believe this, and I did a screencast last night. That's a weight room. That's a home occupation. Where are we? This is what most of my day looks like. 1 second, I want to get the cafe set up. All right, there we go. All right, so what this application is, and it's a movie, so it's going to just go from that, is basically I'm going to try and set up a cafe, and I just put it on the corner over there. I'm blanking on the name of where I got coffee this afternoon, but it was really cool. That's where it is. I use their address. So as you type in this first box, it's like Google. It tries to figure out what you're asking for. So if I type rest, it's going to say, oh, you're probably a restaurant. It gives you the 3 options that are in the existing zoning ordinance. You give your firm a name. In this case, I named it after my favorite Talking Heads song. And we suss out early on whether it's a home occupation or not. If it's a home occ, you can get through OpenCounter in about a minute. And you'll notice we collect information on the left-hand side and we display information on the right-hand side. So already it's tuned to your business name up at the top. We know your use type, and we know that just by being a commercial occupation and by serving food, you're going to need an alarm permit and a health permit. Right now the health permit's at 0 because we don't have all the data that we need to calculate. But as you notice, we're giving it data right now. We've given it an employee count, square footage, telephone number, business structure. We've said whether or not it's a nonprofit to get out of the transit area taxes. And we've asked for additional information to help the folks in planning and economic development perhaps suss out, is there an ancillary use? Does it require further staff appeal? And then as we hit save and continue, we recalculate the fees that are triggered on each page. And now that we know the specific business type and some of the employee counts and square footage, we have done a recalculation of the health permit. We've let them know about some state processes that don't have costs associated with them, but they're going to have to register for workers' comp because they have more than one employee they may need to incorporate in the state of Oregon. And the next page is basically set up to ruin their day. Are you ADA accessible? Do you have fire sprinklers? Are you renovating the property? All of these things that may trigger other things. Oops, I should hit pause because it's going faster than I can talk. This page that we're on right now, only restaurants and food service people see. There are also pages set up just for hotels or just for daycares. What was the other one that we did? Just manufacturing. So there are industry-specific pages in here to, again, collect additional information that's needed as you go. And again, we're doing a pretty good job of recalculating on each page. This is the first page where we start dealing with mapping. And what we're going to do is ask, where do you want to be? And already we've drawn a map for them saying, okay, in these green areas of town, if your address is in there, you're good to go. That's a principally permitted use. One of the more orangish polygons in there, that's going to require further staff analysis. Where our product is going is actually to display commercial real estate that meets your search criteria on this page. So if you say I'm doing a cafe of 5,000 square feet, if the real estate matches that, it'll pop up as a point on this map and you can select that point or put in an address as we're about to do. All right, so here I'm going to type in an address over here on the corner. Notice this is a required field, and I hit save and continue. What's happening in the background is we're taking that address, we're asking Mr. Google, does this address exist in Canby? We're giving it a latitude and longitude, and we're dropping a pin on the map. And what that does is allows us to say, okay, you're a restaurant, you don't have a drive-through, you're in the downtown commercial district, you're in the urban renewal district, you're in the downtown overlay, this use is permitted. So that zoning inquiry is done, you're right on the map. And what this does is also notice that because we're in the downtown and the URD, this up here has popped up all the incentives that you may be able to apply for as well. Each one of these little permits you can click on and get more information about it. We can nest fees in there, so if there's several different layers of fees, explanation about what each one is. And then at that point we start getting into who are you, who's your co-founder, and just moving through. The velocity of your ability to actually get through the page increases the further you get into OpenCounter because we're collecting all the data. And we don't have to ask for your name 6 times. We ask once and only once. If we ask more than once, we fill it in for you saying that we already have it. So that's the general overview. Certainly open to any questions or comments that you may have. And again, I just have to thank you for your support. And just it's a joy to work with your staff.
Thank you. So just for...
Oh, hello.
Thank you, sir. I am curious as to which cities are using OpenCounter currently.
We started in Santa Cruz, California. We added 2 others in Santa Cruz County. In Monterey County, there's 4. There's 2 in Santa Clara County, Truckee, California, and you guys. More are coming.
Super. What challenges have, you're always, I'm sure, beta testing these kinds of things as you add and get, what challenges have come up from this, or as well as what successes have you heard?
Well, as far as successes, we have a very high satisfaction rate from end users, and I think you'll have that as well. We are continually innovating within this product based on what all our clients are telling us. We have built this fantastic rules engine that marries geography with information collection, and it can actually expand to other processes. It's built for economic development because both my co-founder and I come from that world, and it was to be honest, California was going through some issues where the tax increment financing went away, so we were looking for a different tool set. So this was one of the things we built. It can do other things. It can do special event permitting. It can help with residential permitting. It could help with ground-up construction is something that we know that we need to think about. So what you're seeing today is the culmination of about 4 years of thought and work. And we will continue to iterate on those ideas and improve the product over the coming years as well. Some challenges we had, we were working in a lot of communities that required bilingual services. It's now available in Spanish in several localities where we're at. We also, at the present time, we are not accepting cash or issuing permits. We're leaving the discretionary authority to staff. We've been asked by several jurisdictions to actually enter into that world for by right allowed permits, for example, issuing a business license. There's a ton of ideas. Our team is growing, our engineering team is growing. We will tackle them, and the features that you would like in Canby, we are happy to add.
Great. Questions, comments here?
Just great.
Yeah, I'd like to mention, Brian, that I can see someone calling up the planning department and asking, is a gas station permitted on this? What's the overlay? And at least taking up some time with staff, and we're going to have one fewer person there answering the phones this coming year. So this offers the promise of doing things better, faster, and doing it 24 hours a day. So as my dad used to say, no project ever looks so good as on the day it starts. So I'm sure we may run into some problems here.
I found a quote the other day: the first step in any project is to vastly underestimate its complexity and time implications.
Dad wasn't quite that of a wordsmith, but I think that's where he was headed with that. But I think that this is part of having a sleeker, faster type of city, and thank you for bringing it to us, Renata.
Thank you very much. This is a long time in coming. I'm in commercial construction, so I have many owners who find a location, get their financing, get an idea of a budget, and then find out they have a $40,000 traffic impact fee. They had no idea. This solves that. So we're really glad to see something like this. Thank you.
I would like to add that we have developed a table with an open counter workstation in our lobby. So we encourage businesses or anyone that's interested to come into our office and try it, and we as staff will be available to help them through it if they'd like. Of course, it's available 24/7. There's a link on the city website, on our Canby Business website, and also at the top of a building permitting, planning and permitting website, which are the logical places that people might be looking for this kind of thing.
Very good. Good, thank you very much. How were the other presentations? Did you do earlier ones today?
We had great interactions and good conversations, and I think it was universally well received.
Great.
Is this on our website? Will be on the front page when they go to the building? Because I'm trying to figure out how people would know it's out there.
It's live now, and there was an article in the Canby Herald today.
I think this is a tremendous addition. And again, I think it's something that as we talk about trying to have Canby Business ready, that this is a great tool to have. And I think it's, how do we market this, Renata?
In lots of different ways. We have information, we'll have information at the city newsletter that's going out shortly. We'll have information at City Hall. We'll have information on the website and at our counter. We've been working with the Canby Chamber to help get the word out to their members. We invited all of the commercial and industrial property owners and real estate agents to learn about it. So I think we've tried to really spread the net pretty wide on this launch.
We'll use it for the library.
Might be a good test piece, at least for the city to go through its its own process. Yeah, its own process.
Civic Center. Sorry.
Okay. Any other questions for Renata and for Peter?
Thanks for showing up,
Thank you
Peter.
very much. Thank you. Appreciate it. Very good. So, moving along, communications? Okay. Our first opportunity for citizen and community announcements, and Miss Lila Gottman and Lauren and Kathy are here to talk to us about General Canby Day. Thanks, Peter. Hi.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Lila Gottman. I live at 10381 South Milano Road, Canby. And I'm here tonight to introduce you to your new 2 co-chairs for General Canby Day. And I'm throwing them into the deep end of the pool, so without ado, I'm turning it over to them.
Hi, you guys. Hi. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lauren. I have volunteered for General Canby Day for the last 2 years. So I started when it was the 30th, because this is our 32nd. We want to first and foremost thank Canby Telecom for all of their support along the way. We really appreciate it. As I said, it's the 32nd year. Our theme this year is going to be Disney on Parade. So we are hoping that a lot of the parades will have things involving that. We have a king and we have 2 royal guards this year, no queen. Our king is Weston Remington, and his royal guards, is what we're calling them, is John Sig and Jim Mickelson. Fireworks are something that costs us a lot of money, and we are concerned about funding, so we're looking into going out to business and community support, or also potentially a paid event to make the money for fireworks next year. If we do not accrue said funds, we might not have fireworks next year. So we're hoping for that, without a doubt. We have something new this year. We have a monster truck that is going to take people on rides. It does have a kill switch. We're fully prepared, and it will come with a crew of security, and we will be looking under the hood because we both working on it. We have our normal things. We've got tie-dye dog races, we've got the parade, we've got pancake breakfast, we've got our car show, and a possible surprise event, which we're also very excited about. And that pretty much is about my update on this. Thank you for having me, and most importantly, thank you for supporting us. We really appreciate it. So I'm from Los Angeles, and so when I came here and I experienced the first Canby Day, I absolutely fell in love. I thought this was incredible to see a community doing something like this, because I come from a place that doesn't necessarily have that much community. So awesome that you guys support it.
Thank you. You're not going to get off that easy, Lauren, just so you know. Explain to me more about the monster truck.
Okay, Lila might have more answers about that. We made a deal with them. We're going to have it. Is it out by the bank, because it will be part of it?
No, it will be on 3rd and Holly, and they'll do like 2-minute rides. It can turn on a dime. They have people standing outside with kill switches, and can kill, if anything happens, can kill the truck immediately.
How big of a monster truck are we talking?
It's a monster truck.
It's a monster truck.
Real live, legit? What?
Yes.
Correct.
It is a monster.
You talk about kill switch, I'm just curious if there's, what are you laughing at?
It's zombie.
Yeah.
Those things, I
You
get
even have
zombie.
boys. What do you mean?
It's called the zombie, and it has, I believe, 6 seats on each side that people can sit in the back. And they have a ladder that goes up, and then they get in by the ladder. And we've asked them to be in the parade to carry the king and his royal guards. And if Weston can't handle being in the heat, they can be 2 people inside the cab with air conditioning.
Are you asking for safety, or because you want to ride in it?
They do.
Who doesn't want to ride a monster truck? I
They
want-
do have a $2 million insurance policy that they have never used before, and your name and our name will be on that policy as well.
I know in years past, candy tossing has been an issue.
Correct.
Are we still, is that?
We're still
how
trying.
Trying to address that?
Yeah,
piece?
we're still trying to address that. It's an ongoing thing. We just have to keep going at it. We've talked about walkers on the side. It is just, we got to keep doing what we're doing. There's not much more You know, you tell people not to do it, and then they turn around and do it anyways. You say, do you have candy? They say no, and then they're found throwing candy. So it is what it is.
All right. Questions on the right, yes?
I actually have, well, back to the parade and the candy. We've been pretty successful with having people walking along the floats to throw the candy. The concern I have, and it was really bad last year, and that is on the stretch by Waite Park on Holly, where the families are sitting in what would have been the parking spots, and Councilor Dale and I were accompanied by a fire truck last year, that if it weren't for Councilor Dale and I throwing our candy literally over everybody's heads into the park so they had to go run and get it, we were trying to make room for the truck to get through. So I'm wondering if there's something we can do to mitigate that problem in that area by maybe blocking off the parking spots to where the seating is actually on the curb and not in the road. I'm not sure if there's something we can do, maybe with the help of Public Works and some barricades or something, but the last year was the worst we'd seen it.
Yeah, that last year we had an enormous amount of people. It was the largest parade that we had in a long time. I believe...
It's the shadiest spot in town, so...
It's the shadiest spot in town, and I believe that Mater and Lightning McQueen showed up that year, and the kids went crazy. So it was a very profitable year that year. Yes, we do agree, and I think that is being addressed. We're going to try and address that.
Okay, that's the main concern I had with, and the parade is always a successful, it's a very popular event, but just didn't know that we were going to have to spend our afternoon making way for a fire truck to get through. It was an interesting time, so I just wanted to bring that to your attention and see if there was something we can do to get the folks to seat on the curb and back into the park rather than in the road.
Anything else from you? Yes, sir.
Well, thank you for stepping forward and being a volunteer on this project. I appreciate it. Also, I like the idea, not that I know anything about monster trucks, I just like the idea of something new. Having just attended a workshop on community events, the idea of always having something new to bring in new people is important. And also at that conference, it talked, and I'm glad Renata popped back in on this to reinforce this, is that the best practices say you use events like this to cross-promote new residents. And you're talking about how you were in Canby on the 4th of July and you fell in love with the city. And there are going to be people that come to Canby on the 4th of July and going to fall in love with it. And we need to have some brochures or things like that that have our open counter and our names of realtors there. So I'm going to be working with the city staff on cross-promoting it. But thank you. This is a lot of work. I always wondered if we were going to have to bring in 2 people to take over when Lila left. And
She brought him in herself.
I kind of figured that she was doing the job of 2 people, so thank you for all the years that you put into this. And you can count on us as individual volunteers as well to help with this, because it really is a signature event. It's an opportunity for us to help our businesses, and also I think the piece that we haven't done in the past is used it as a marketing opportunity for new businesses and new residents who come here. So that's our job to do. You just put on a great event and let us know how we can help.
Great. Okay, yeah, I'd be interested to know what you decide to do. That would be great.
And then signs for anybody that's going to be in the parade. If you want more bling on your sign, come to the
We can
infirmary.
bling.
We'll bling it. So on that, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Mine's pretty well blinged, I think.
Okay, mayor's business. Crowd thins out. I want to thank, we just are very close to finishing up the budget season and near finalization of our city budget, and I wanted to thank the council and the budget committee. I want to thank staff for their hard work and hard decisions that were needed. I know that Amanda's not here this evening, but there was a lot of work put into that to get us to where we were, and an interesting tidbit that both the city budget and the Urban Renewal Agency budget both came out of committee unanimously, which is like the first time, I think, in 3 years that that has happened. So I commend the hard work to staff and to us here and the budget committee to get that done. June 9th, the Sequoia Bridge opening will be happening. It's at 10 a.m. We'll be doing a ribbon cutting, and I believe Councilor Dale and I will be pontificating greatly about the opening of the bridge. So please come down. I think it's going to be great. It'll be a great event. Tomorrow at the county offices, tomorrow evening, starting at 6:30 or 6:45, just a reminder, they'll be doing an open house presentation about the county road situation and funding pieces, and that's open to the general public as well if you want to come down and hear about that and what's being proposed and talked about. First Friday is this Friday, so please come on down. Jamie's informed us that there's 10 businesses this year, or this Friday, participating, which would be a great thing to have and a great turnout. We had heard that the Portland Wheelmen will be in town this weekend for their Century Ride. We've got over 1,500 riders coming to town, so please be careful as you're driving the roads on Saturday. Be on the lookout for extra bicycles and give them plenty of room. I'd like to welcome Rick Anderson back to Canby as the new CEO of the Canby Area Chamber of Commerce. I think his first luncheon was this past Tuesday, and it sounds like he's got some great ideas, and I look forward to working with him and the relationship with the city and getting some great things done. So welcome to Rick Anderson. Finally, congratulations to our graduates of Canby High School who are moving on. I know Councilor Parker has one that has done just that, and all the 8th graders that will now become freshmen. To you, I will say good luck.
Thanks.
Other things, will, in terms of ironing out some details and some things with Amanda for future agenda items, but I will bring those up when the time is right. With that, we'll go to liaison reports with Councilor Rocha.
All right. The only thing I have tonight is Canby Fire. 2 items with them. They have appointed Tom O'Connor as acting chief, which will start on June 27th to cover for Chief Coombs leaving. And then secondly, they have 4 candidates moving forward now instead of 5. So they're narrowed down to 4. They'll be having candidates meeting, greet and meet function on Monday, June 16th, followed by panel interviews on the 17th. And I do know that Tom O'Connor has removed himself from that process. And that is all I've got.
What were the dates on that again?
Meet and greet is on June 16th, and the interviews will be on the 17th.
Great.
And that's at the fire department?
Yes,
Thank you.
that is all I have.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Councilor Hensley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I am thankful that the budget season is done so that I can actually attend my liaison appointments now, being that they usually have their meetings on Thursday evenings. So I don't have liaison assignment reports, but I did want to just offer a word of thanks and appreciation. I often speak of my appreciation for the men and women who serve this country, but tonight I particularly want to thank the soldiers and the families of the Oregon Army National Guard 41st Infantry Brigade Combat Team, as they are preparing to send nearly 900 soldiers from 3 battalions. They're deploying to Afghanistan later this month. And some of those folks are from here in Canby, including a dear friend of my family. So just want to offer my sincere gratitude. We pray for your safety. We thank you for your sacrifice. Godspeed. That is all.
Thank you for that. That's huge.
Mr. Mayor, this Friday I'll have a traffic safety meeting. I'd like to thank the Canby Herald for publishing the article on regarding the reduction of speed on Territorial, and talking with Jerry from Public Works think that'll be July, August timeframe before those new signs will go up. Next Tuesday is a library board meeting, and I'm excited for this first Friday, bring the Mustang down to Pappy's Greasy Spoon Car Show. That's all I have.
Is that a classic car that you're bringing down?
No, it's a hot rod.
It's just
Hot rods work.
still fun.
Thank you, sir. Counselor Parker.
I was just going to mention that as well, that Pappy's is stepping up with a new event for First Friday, and look forward to seeing all of you down there this Friday.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay, Mayor, I have no liaison report this week, but I also want to say ditto to what our counselor has said about our men and women that are going to be serving in Afghanistan. My next door neighbor is going to be deployed, and I told him we're going to be watching his family close and definitely going to be in prayer for them. And this is he was already deployed to Iraq, and now he's going to Afghanistan. And it's just hard to believe how many times these men and women have to go into harm's way, and they definitely need our prayers.
I had a neighbor that came over to kind of let us know that they were going to have a party, and it might get a little loud, and he said, why? And I said, you be as loud as you want.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, you go for it. All his friends.
With that being said, how would we go about finding out who in our community is involved in that deployment?
Be nice to recognize them.
It would be very nice to recognize them.
Probably try the public affairs officer at the Guard in Salem. He might be able to run that down for us.
There is generally I just know this because my cousin's in the Guard, what they call a family support liaison.
Okay,
Who works out of
There we
either the National Guard or the Oregon Military Department.
okay. Because I think Councilor Hensley and Councilor Ryder's mentioning those that will be here, though are not there, are still serving and need our support. And I know that one of the families that's leaving, one of the rest of the family that's staying behind is mom with five kids that will definitely want, I'm sure, some backup when needed. So, and every little bit helps, whether that's helping out maintaining yards or babysitting or just dropping off a home-cooked meal so that they don't have to cook, can be a very big deal. So thank you for bringing...
Definitely a family sacrifice.
It is, so thank you for bringing that up, Counselor. Appreciate it. Well, thank you all. We'll move into the consent agenda, and I believe that's going to be handled by Counselor Parker this evening.
I get a speaking role tonight. Mr. Mayor, I move to adopt the minutes of the May 21st, 2014 City Council work session and regular meeting, the reappointment of Mark Treibwasser to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, reappointment of Mindy Monacuco to the Bike and Pedestrian Committee, reappointment of Jason Padden to the City Budget Committee, and reappointment of John Baker to the Historic Review Board for terms to expire on June 30th, 2017.
May I have that pink sheet, sir? Thank you. I'll take a second.
Take a second.
Motion has been made by Counselor Parker and seconded by Counselor Ryder to approve the consent agenda, which include the minutes of the May 21st, 2014 City Council work session and regular meeting, the reappointment of Mark Treibwasser to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, reappointment of Mindy Monacuco to the Bike and Pedestrian Committee, reappointment of Jason Padden to the City Budget Committee, and reappointment of John Baker to the Historic Review Board for terms to expire on June 30th, 2017. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Change in meeting, so it passes 5-0. I'd like to thank those committee members, John Baker, Jason Padden, Mindy Monacuco, and Mark Treibwasser for signing up and re-signing up to be on our committees. We greatly appreciate it. It's a big role in our that help us out tremendously, so thank you to them for doing that. We'll move into resolutions and ordinances. First one up, Ms. Sue.
Sorry. Resolution number 1189, a resolution extending the City of Canby's workers' compensation coverage to volunteers of the City of Canby and repealing Resolution 1159.
Thank you, Sue. So as Amanda explained to me, this is kind of a housekeeping piece that we have to redo every year, and it's just a matter of extending just that, the workers' comp piece, to our volunteers, employees that might be helping out, work crews that come into town, and that kind of thing. Am I leaving anything out, Joe?
No, it is a record-keeping piece. It is mandatory. CIS wants us to do it every year, and so we re-up it every year. One piece that you might be interested in, and I'm sure Councilor Hensley knows as well, I think our biggest bragging right is probably our library volunteers. I think they put in 3,000 hours at least. So this does cover us with a legitimate workforce of volunteers, so it's a good thing to make sure and have.
Great, thank you. I will take a motion on that there, please.
Mayor, I move that we adopt Resolution 1189, a resolution extending workers' comp coverage to volunteers and repealing Resolution 1159.
Second.
Motion made by Councilor Ryder, second by Councilor Hensley to approve